Hey guys, so this is definitely more of a video of sour description to be filming and posting so soon after having returned to YouTube. But with that being said, despite how silly it is to be upset over the closing of a store, I am legitimately so upset that Joann Fabrics is starting to close its doors. And in that same vein, this is perhaps my last Joann haul, maybe forever. And I know it's the first that I've filmed for this channel, but that does not mean that there were not many to come beforehand. Trust me, there were quite a few, especially if you've watched the last video. You'll know that in that closet, there are some pieces of fabric. Also, this is Bobbin. He's supervising, just to make sure things go smoothly. A little boring background history about me. I was raised in Pennsylvania and I spent my early 20s there and in New Jersey. And I'm now in the DC area, which is crazy. But regardless of where I lived, Joann Fabrics was like a comforting good friend for me. All right. There really was no better way for me to either cheer myself up or even just spend a couple hours or spend a day off than going to grab an iced coffee and going to Joann, looking at the aisles, fabrics, buttons, notions. It was one of my favorite things to do, especially if I was in a creative slump, going to the craft store. I mean, yes, of course, it does inevitably result in some unplanned purchases, yes, but it legitimately got me excited to get back in home and start making things again when I really needed that sort of push. So I was always grateful to have that so close by. In the last apartment that my boyfriend and I had in Pennsylvania, the Joann Fabrics was not only within 10-minute drive, but it was next door to a Target. And when I say next door, I mean legitimately next door, as in here's the shopping center, here's the Target, and then there's Joann down here. There's nothing in between, just sidewalk and Target. Me saying I'm going to Target or I'm going to Joann, he knew that meant he's on his own for a few hours. And I'm gonna miss having that so close by. Right now, the one that's closest to us, unfortunately, even before the news dropped, was looking a bit worse for wear. There's always only one staff member there and there's boxes all over the place. Unfortunately, I could see that location was going downhill, but there's one, if I drive 10 more minutes, that's kind of like a super Joann, and that one, incredible. Massive, incredible. It even had dollhouse miniatures. I had never seen a Joann store with dollhouse miniatures before, so that was a shock to me. This weekend, I went to that same super Joann on Valentine's Day. My boyfriend was working until later in the evening, so I was on my own. So what would I do? Get a coffee, go to Joann. I drove to the super Joann, and it broke my heart because when I pulled into the parking lot, it was full. It was full. Of course it was full. It was full. But on any other Friday, Saturday, Tuesday, Monday that I'd gone there before the news broke, the lot was empty. And the store was always empty, save for me and the employees and maybe a few stragglers. And I couldn't help but think to myself, if y'all had shown up sooner, maybe this wouldn't have had to happen. But of course, now it's time to pick over the remains of what's left. I get it, but broke my heart. So anyway, what did I get? Let's firstly acknowledge the fact that oops. So this was from the Super Joann when I went on Valentine's Day, and then I planned to film this video that day. It is now the 19th, and I went to the one, the dilapidated one that's closer, a few days ago as well. I'm having bittersweet time here. I will say this, the liquidation stores are no longer accepting coupons. So if you're going there to expect to use your usual, they're not gonna work. Those coupons only work in the non-liquidation stores. And if you have the Joann app and you put in your zip code, you can actually see which ones are liquidation stores and which ones aren't. Very important, because I was not expecting to spend the amount that I did at the second store, because I went there and they had already stopped accepting coupons. Therefore, spent more than I wanted to. Let's look at what we got at the first Joann. The first thing I got was this goose. I'm gonna be naming her Joann as an homage to her mothership, and she's gonna be my my memory of the store. You sweet baby. I love her. That's Joann. Then somebody had purchased a good amount of the Juicy Couture. Is this velvet? I don't remember what it's called. Fabric. And there were remnants left of it. So this one was $15.99. So this is almost a yard of that really soft, minky, juicy fabric. I love that. This is a stretchy knit kind of, I don't want to say like cross hatch, I'm not sure, but it's also just over half a yard and it was $9. I'll give you the sale prices once I finish. This is another knit fabric and it has the gold little bar accessories there, which is really nice, and it was 3/4 of a yard and it was $4.47. This next one I kind of picked up on a whim and I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do with it. I'm thinking something along the lines of lining little tiny skirts for calico critters, but we'll see. It's like a tulle and it was 0.6 about of a yard, $1.32. Then I am a geek for Crayola and crayons. Like I said, I used to live in Pennsylvania and driving to Easton was not that far. It was like 40-50 minutes to the Crayola factory, and I loved it so much. I love crayons, I love markers, I love stationery. I have the Colors of Kindness colored pencils, but when I saw that they had the markers, instant snatch. Instant snatch. Do I need more markers? He says no. And then I got 5 fat quarters. They were, I believe, $1.99 instead of $2.99. This one is a teal chicken. Look how cute they are. My nickname is actually Chicken, so works for me. These tiny little ditzy floral blue flowers. My favorite flower is a sunflower, and I thought that this one was very nice and fall themed. The print is a bit big for what I want to do because I make clothes for tiny toys and tiny dolls, so I don't know if it'll show up as well, but I did like it. I got these little buzzy bees. Same concern with this, but it's gorgeous. I'll think of something to do with it. And now finally, the last few things from the store on Valentine's Day were, well, the bag itself, because I neglected to bring a bag, and 3 things that I didn't think I would be getting at Joann, but I did. I don't know if you can tell, but these are bees. I didn't get these at Joann, but I love crazy earrings like that, and these were still on sale, so I got these little snails, and then these gorgeous floral medallions, and then these lemons. Aren't they so cute? That was everything from the Valentine's Day trip. They were still taking all the coupons, so Joann the duck, instead of $24.99 was $11.99. The tulle, instead of $1.99 was $107. This yellow foil was $4.48, not on sale. Interesting. The juicy velour, instead of being $15.99, it was $9.59. This mustard, which they called Liverpool, I don't know, is it Beatles related? It was $5.42. And the snail earrings were $3.99. The lemon earrings were $3.19. And then these were $3.99. The Crayola markers were $3.19, and the fat quarters actually were, these were $1.59 each. So my total for all of that was $54.86 before tax. A lot, but I was going into the store with the mindset that this is my last time stepping foot into a Joann, so I let myself kind of enjoy myself. Then I went again. And let's see what I got at the next one. So the next store, I got one of their totes again because I actually wanted to get one with their logo on it for the memes. I walked into this one not knowing that they had ceased coupon acceptance, put it that way. And we will also say, whilst I was in line to get my fabric cut, an employee came up and put up signs that said minimum cut 1 yard. So I was going to get half a yard of everything. And the crazy thing is she put that sign up right before it was my turn. So I thought, man, and I was too shy to back out, and I was like, I want these fabrics, so I now have a yard of what you're about to see. Firstly, we have this beautiful monarch butterfly green, like forest green fabric. Whole yard of that. It's gonna last me for eons. This I had actually never seen at Joann before, and I was very happy that I found this. It's mice on bikes. Are you kidding me? Look at them. Where'd they go? And they have little baskets. This one was a bit of an oopsie because I brought this home and then I looked at my fabric stand and realized that I already have a yard of this. So I might be making a lot of Valentine's Day themed clothes for critters in the near future. Is Valentine's Day over? Yes, it is. That is fine. This is another one that I'd never seen at Joann before, and you can tell that I'm the kind of person that I go there, I wander, I look around, but I'd never seen this before. Yellow chickens. It's me. My favorite colors are yellow and pink, and my nickname is Chicken. Perfect. This is the last cut of fabric I got. It's Halloween candy with candy corn, and then it has little like bonbon things. The print is small enough that I can use it for small scale things. And the final two things that I got were these candy molds. This is Christmas light bulbs, and this is XOXO, but I honestly got this one for the hearts. I am going to be using these to make chocolate candy toppers to put on cupcakes, because I have been watching a lot of cupcake wars, and I've been making cupcakes. Last night I made these, the blueberry lemon vanilla cupcakes. Very good. But what I can tell you is that all of this was full price, except for the Valentine's Day and the Christmas candy mold, because seasonal. Yeah, so I spent about the same at the second store as I did at the first store when everything was on sale. So I don't love that. And I can't believe I'm saying that their sales were better before they started to close, but they were. So I would keep that in mind if you're planning to make a trip to Joann. I'm gonna miss Joann. You know, I'm gonna miss the rainbow colored aisles and the tall stacks of fabric and the fact that there's just people in there who are so sweet and so kind. I spent about an hour the other day waiting for my turn to cut fabric, and I had 3 separate conversations with 3 separate women. They were all so sweet, and you don't get that kind of connection when you go to Walmart or when you go to, not even Michael's, honestly. When you're getting your fabric cut, they talk to you. There's no other store that I go to where people talk to me. And I can't believe I'm saying this as a positive thing, because I'm an introvert, and I'm an introvert, but being around like-minded people in a craft store that sells fabric, it's so cozy, it's so comforting. I'm gonna miss that. You don't get that at another store. I don't know where else I can get that. My favorite section was always remnants, because I sew for Calico Critters, Sylvanian families, and 1/3, 1/4, 1/6 scale dolls. So I never need a hefty amount of fabric for my projects. So looking there at that section is always my favorite, and it was always the cheapest too, because it was plus 70% off of the current price for the type of fabric it was. And it was kind of like thrifting. I know these are new materials, and I do source thrifted materials, absolutely, but not knowing what's going to be on the remnants shelf was one of my favorite parts, and that's the first place I looked at every Joann that I ever went to. Here's another thing. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that Joann was perfect, okay? I know it sounds like I'm licking some boots. I'm not going to pretend they don't have problems. Their app and their website have been not so great for a long time. I don't love that when you purchase multiple things, they end up usually coming in separate packages, one for each item. I know for some people that might be convenient, but for me it was more so a nuisance rather than convenience. Don't get me wrong, I'm grateful that I could still order and have stuff delivered. It just kind of defeated the purpose of knowing, hey, I have a delivery on X day, I will be home, I will grab it. Especially if you live somewhere where people tend to, you know, snatch packages. You can't plan as far ahead as you could if it were all on one day. But like I said, and I vented too much on one of their Instagram comment sections. Yeah, don't judge me. The point is, all of these issues are reparable if you have the appropriate staff member or somebody with the right skill set in order to fix these issues. But even with that being said, Joann it's one of a kind, and I'm really sad that they're going away, because they keep so many small businesses afloat. I don't want to go to Walmart for thread. I don't want to park in a massive parking lot, trudge through aisles, and just looking for thread. I don't want to go to Hobby Lobby because it's an hour away and other reasons. Some people say that their Michaels has started carrying fabric. Not mine. Mine is nothing even remotely close. Maybe fabric scissors, which is interesting, but no. There's some really great small owned Amish fabric shops in Lancaster County in Pennsylvania, but it's a little far for me now because I don't live there anymore. Well, I never lived in Lancaster. That's a dream. My point is, I'm gonna miss Joann. I know you're gonna miss Joann if you clicked on this because you agree. I mean, you're not gonna be watching a video about a craft store if you don't care. I'm glad they were here. I'm grateful that we got to spend time together. I'm sad that we have to move on, but I'm glad we had the time spent together. Also, if anyone happens to have an extra of their Joann green employee aprons, I would love to pay for one. I'm being completely serious. My mom and I sewed my first doll clothes with fabric from Joann, and now I sew on my own with fabric from Joann. There's gonna be a gaping hole in the market now. Joann was special. Let me know what you think about Joann clothing. If I'm insane, you're more than welcome to tell me. I know it's weird to be so bothered by something so relatively insignificant in the grand scheme of things, but look, we all need joy in our lives, and joy and Joann start with J for a reason. I'm gonna miss you, Joann. Thanks for watching.